TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of the social medias across the world today has become one of the greatest tools of any generation has ever seen or ever used to be able to advance humanity to the next level. Today, when you look at those social medias, not only they can be a tool, but they can be a vectors that you can do business, but also at the same time use them to educate yourself, to advance yourself. Unfortunately, when we look at the stats of what's going on in Africa compared to other countries, especially with Asia, we tend to be the ones who are downloading most of the time, the ones who are using social media most of the time that's given to us, not the ones that we create ourselves. But beyond that, when you look at social media today, of what's going on in TikTok, what's going on in Instagram and Snapchat, most of the time, the majority of us, not all, but the majority of us are using it for entertainment. Some of us are using it for business, which is great. The majority are using it for politics, for demonizing each other. It makes one wonder, all of us actually should be asking these questions. Many of us are asking the questions, and I am also asking myself this question: what is going to happen to Africa in 10, 15, 50 years from now with all this competition in social media from Asia to the United States to Europe and the rest of the world that are fighting, competing on AI, on cybersecurity, and everything that's happening, that's driving the change of this world that we live in, that we share, all of us. What role is Africa playing? What role our young people are playing, and what role they will continue to play in this? Will they be just people who download and be consumers, as most of the time that we are, of what people are creating? And what kind of consumers of what's being created? That is a question that most of us should ask ourselves, because what is scary about this technology, especially where AI is going, I have not seen yet the presence of Africa, our continent, and our young people in the main competition, because we have not invested in education, science, and technology to be able to have enough engineers and young people who are going to be there creating for Africa, from Africa to the world. This is a big question we should ask ourselves, because to me, honestly, when I'm looking at the trend and where we're going from now, because Asia is continuing to compete, bringing something on the table for the world. The United States is doing the same thing. Europe is doing the same thing. But Africa, let's say it and face it, honestly, we are absent. We are consuming, and we are not using it totally the way we're supposed to be using it. So what is it going to do to us in the future? We're going to continue to be depending on others to use technology, depending on the rest of the world to be able to consume what will take so much of our time, because the majority of us spend most of our time in today in TikTok, in Facebook, on Instagram, scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, wasting time that we could be utilizing to do something greater, to participate in our economies, to participate to what we'll set forth, to the future of our children, the future of our countries. The time that we are scrolling, wasting time, sometimes 7 to 10, 15 hours a day, watching the lives of others to pass on, we are not using that we could be using to do. The others in the other world, in Asia and etc., are using it to create newer things, newer trends that they can sell us, to be consumers and idle while the world is moving. This is a question that we all should ask ourselves. What will Africa play in the future of technology, and what are we doing to make sure that we don't let technology control our lives in a way where we have no lives almost? What could have been a greatest opportunity, which is the greatest generation right now that are living the most wired technology driven generation that's ever lived in this earth right now is living. But are they using it well? Is it going to be beneficial to us? Are we going to be able to drive and compete to make sure that we are at the core of what's changing this world and what's changing this continent? Are we going to use technology to find solutions for our problems, that everything that we're dealing with right now, there's solutions with technology as other countries are doing it? But when I look at Instagram, when I look at Facebook, when I look at TikTok and Snapchats and etc., this is not something that we are heading to. And now I'm asking you, what do you think about this subject? And what do we need to do to make sure that this trend is shifted towards something that we can plant the right seeds for the future generation? What do you think?